ist der 5 Minuten Countdown angebrochen. 10:31 Uhr. Und das bedeutet 5 Minuten bis zum Start. 5 minutes to the start.
Getting all set for run number 2 now here in Innsbruck, Austria. The opening race out of 5 races this weekend at the Eagles track, officially known as the Olympic Sliding Center. Run number 1, third place. The German team, Weitberger and Machina. They were the first to go in run number 1, coming off of a crash last weekend, but also a victory in the first ever team event, the mixed team event. Germany second and third. Degenhardt and Rosenthal currently in second place, but they're a quarter of a second behind our hometown leaders, Selena Egla and Lara Kipp. Look at that perfect exit on our super slow-mo camera out of corner 9. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Tim Singer. Our ongoing coverage of the FIL World Cup Luge Tour, thanks in part to some of our sponsors making this happen: EBERSPÄCHER, Hargasner, BMW, Skechers, and the World Cup Tour. Weather has the beautiful Tyrolean Alps in the background, really one of the most gorgeous locations on tour. That start record and track record, of course, happened earlier today, as this is the first ever official race to be held on this track in the sport of women's doubles. Welcome to Evan, Anna, already tuned in, live coverage on YouTube. They're watching, they're chatting. Your questions, your comments, your criticisms. Our new 3D animations this year as we look at that Kreisel smack in the middle of this track, and the new start location this year for the women and the doubles. They've been talking about that for years. They really wanted to get that start moved a little higher, both because of the tricky start curve on the old start ramp, as well as the fact that they just needed more speed, could use more track. And it makes you wonder whether we will someday have the time when the men and the women, at least in singles, start at the same spot as they do in many of the other snow and sliding sports. The Kreisel corner is 270 degrees, takes you down into curve 8, and really one of the key spots on this track, corner number 9. Then a high wall of curve 10, I believe we're calling this at the right spot. Then the lower labyrinth will eventually shoot you uphill to the finish. Track record of 46.763. It will be interesting to see if that's bettered here in run number 2.
Zielgebäude, da tut sich was hier in Innsbruck Eagles. Bis zum nächsten Jahr soll dort alles fertig sein, alles funktionieren. Völlig neue
Only 11 sleds in today's competition. And we'll take a look at that start list in a moment as they will go in reverse order. Great shot. Christmas tree, apples, and sled. Ukraine. And really the competition may be for the podium spot, second, third, fourth, fifth. That's tight. The Austrians will probably need to make a big mistake to give up their lead here in run number 2. Always good luge spectators on hand at the Austrian races. Way back in 2017, the World Championships were held here, and there were tens of thousands of spectators on what was a beautiful spot. As Innsbruck and Eagles host the World Championships traditionally on 7s, 2017. And the Worlds will be held in 2027. Concentration on the face of Elena Stetchkiv. Elena just missed out on qualifying for the women's singles race this weekend. In fact, she missed yesterday in the Nations Cup by just 7 thousandths of a second. So now Stechkiv and Mok on course. Elena's favorite luge athlete of all time is Armin Zugler, and Alexandra's favorite luge athlete of all time is Johannes Ludwig. Between the two of them, I'm counting 10 Olympic medals in men's singles and team relay, maybe 11. So those are two pretty good lugers to have as your favorites. World Cup luge, 2 runs, combined time. So as you see, that 110, 111, 112 down in the lower part of your screen is actually added on from their first run time, which was a 47.782. Really well done. Corner number 9, good line in 10. Here come the Ukrainians down to the bottom of the track. Stechkiv and Mok down with a time of 47.668. That's some 0.12 of a second faster than their first run. 71.7 miles per hour. And thanks to our Ukrainian fans watching this morning, waking up to check out their favorite athletes. A lot of Ukrainian flags. If not flying around the track, they're flying in our chat here on YouTube. When doubles became part of the World Cup Tour in 2021, many singles athletes made the switch. Some staying with singles like Stechkiv, some abandoning singles and going to doubles. Jessica Degenhardt did that, Diana Eitberger did that, Andi Vetter did that, and this woman right here, Raluca Stramatraru of Romania, represents the Army Club Staiu with her teammate Mihaela Carmen Manaleshi. 13 years separate them. Their sled is a hybrid build by both Kassel and DRS. Or I believe that's, no, DKR is the Duncan Kennedy sled acronym. Already pretty good deficiency. And a little bit of skidding between corners 9 and 10 for Romania. No chance to overtake the lead here. They're about 0.7 of a mile per hour slower than Ukraine. So Raluca and Mihaela will move back 1 spot and a little extra time in the leader zone for Ukraine. Synchronization, but not the best line. As you see, I missed that on the live shot, brushing that wall and then hard off of the start ramp. That's why the deficiency was so great by the time they hit that first split time. Long time that they made it all the way to the end. When I first covered racing here at the Eagles track, they didn't have this tunnel. And the sleds actually hit gigantic pads to try to slow them down. That got a little ugly on occasion, especially in skeleton, head first into the pad. Poland in 9th place after run number 1. They had a downtime of 47.615. Dolmovic and Pivkowska. Their goals are ambitious. It's to be in the top 10 in the World Championships. That's prestigious, to say the least. We expect by the time we Whistler in early February for the Worlds, there will be few more sleds than the 11 we've seen in the early going here on the World Cup.
Romanian und Polen mit
1500 second advantage in the curve 10. young athletes. Tomovic just 22, Pivkovska 21 years old. Both part-time students. Uphill into the lead, 47.675. It's a good downtime. Just a little slower than the first run, but they had enough in the bank to hold on to their spot. 135.29 for the two runs.
Das heißt Daumen halten für die Südtiroler Fans, die hierher über den Brenner gekommen sind. Jetzt kommen die Jungen Nadia Falkensteiner, Annalena Huber.
Here's the first of two from Italy, Nadia Falkensteiner, Annalena Huber. As I mentioned in run number one, they had a crash yesterday in the final training run, the seeded training group. Already a quarter of a second up on Poland here on their home track. Most of these Italians, as we've well documented over the years, reside in an area in northern Italy, South Tyrol, which is as close to Innsbruck as it is to any track in the world. A quick little bit of steering, nicely done by Nadia out of curve 9. All of the speeds have been roughly 1 or 2 miles per hour within one another. And a huge lead there as the congratulations happen down in the leader area. Poland gets a very short stint there as Italy has moved into first place. They've done a nice job to get this new start area ready for this first World Cup race. They don't yet have a start building there. So what's going on actually are the athletes are warming up and changing in the old start houses, one below this women's start and one above it. To open up the season, there's only one USA sled in women's doubles, and that's the exception, as the rule has been since the start of World Cup women's doubles. The Americans have fielded at least 2 teams, and in one case at the first World Championships, I believe the USA had 2 teams on the podium. But this veteran squad, Siobhan Forgan and Sophie Kirkby, acquitted themselves very well last week in Lillehammer with their first ever World Cup win. They've been on the podium many times, but the elusive victory was finally discovered on the Hundertfossen track. Already 1/4 of a second up. It will be interesting to see if they keep it clean here, and much better than run number 1 for Forgan and Kirkby. Their first heat time was 47.299. Let's see how much better this is. 47.043. That would have been good enough for 3rd place in the first heat. But you need to put 2 pretty solid runs together if you want to qualify for the podium. And unless something major happens, the Americans can best hope to sneak into the top 5. They began the run in 7th place. They could move up a few more spots. I think top 5 is their most realistic hope. Nice to end the day on a good note. We will see all of these women's doubles teams, or most of them, again tomorrow in the first team relay. BMW team relay will premiere tomorrow after the men's singles competition. Now Latvia, Marta Rovanica and Kitya Bogdanova. The last 2 races of last season were held in Latvia. on their home track. They had different partners. There's been a lot of shuffling in Latvia women's doubles, some due to injury, some due to just trying to find the right combination. Well, she had to do quite a bit of correcting out of corner number 9 with the foot tap, the nick of the wall, but no major damage. But this will put them behind the USA, no question about that. She'll drop 1 spot, 0.07 of a second, so keeping it pretty close to Forgan and Kirkby. With the USA moving up at least 1 spot.
Die beiden Österreicherinnen Forgan Kirkby, aber es war auch wirklich eine saubere Party, die sie uns hier gezeigt haben, aber immer noch weit weg vom Bahnrekord der Österreicherinnen.
Maurizio writing in on our chat, YouTube chat, saying, is it only his impression, or has the American team improved a lot? Yeah, the USA, who hold the lead right now, have certainly improved in many of the disciplines. Look out for a young American team later today in men's doubles. Evan writes in, he says, Germany and Austria are still doing really well. Of course they are. And Italy has a great tradition in doubles luge as well, including a handful of Olympic medals. And now the top Italian team in women's doubles on track. Andi Vetter always has great start times, and today no exception. 1200s up on the USA, and that's the lead she's hanging on to. Vetter and Oberhofer, 2 former singles competitors. All they've done in their 2 years together as a doubles team is win the World Cup overall both seasons. Perfect. Losing a little bit of time to the USA sled down here at the bottom, but it should be enough to hang on by at least 0.05. 1/10 of a second. Italy over the United States. Italy clinching a top 5. That's where Andi and Marion finished last week. And believe it or not, I'm sure that was construed as a disappointment for the two of them, who finished no worse than 4th all of last season. It will be fun to see how Italy can do on the brand new track in Cortina when and if that is finished. It's about 27% of the way done, and they're hoping to slide down that track by the end of March 2025. But certainly Italy will not get the home course advantage that, say, an Olympic nation might have if the track were completed a couple of years out. Upait and Kaluma, Anda and Zana now on track, grabbing those handles. 4th place after run number 1. They hold about a 0.05 advantage over the Italians after run number 1. Andi and Marion were just nearly perfect, so this could be red early and stay in the red. 0.005 of a second behind right now. Now into the green, so I have been corrected by the team on the ice. We'll see where they're trending out of Kreisel. 2 athletes originally from the capital city of Riga, which is less than an hour drive from the track in Sigulda. They're looking really good through the 9-10 combination. Terrific run for Latvia. They will hold off the Italians. Will they make a run at the medals? 46.999. Their downtime quite a bit fast. 1/1300 faster. That has the potential to put them on the podium. Last week it was the other Latvian team that finished 3rd onto the podium. These two finished 4th. So they'll look to see if they're on the podium. Diana and Lena will try to make it onto the podium for their first ever time as a World Cup team. Eidberger last year finished third in the overall World Cup standings in doubles with her former teammate. That third included a win in Oberhof, that's Diana's home track, even though she lives in Bavaria now. And they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 other podiums. Down this track many times. Diana has won in singles here in Eagles. Looks like a little bit of an issue on that early straightaway, and because of that, the red. 0.09 of a second back. Latvia was very fast, but Diana is not having perfect lines. She has to do an adjustment in curve 10. She's a little high there, and as a result, that friction is bleeding all sorts of time. It looks like a podium for Latvia, and Eidberger and Machina moved back 3 positions behind the Latvians, the Italians, and the United States. Problems were small, but they were plentiful for this German team, this new German team. Diana, of course, has the experience to make the corrections, but she got herself in trouble several times. And with each correction, a few hundredths of a second, maybe even a tenth, was cost. Only 2 sleds remain now, Diana and Lena. Disappointing second run as they had in the first run last week in Lillehammer. Looking to be a little more consistent as they head towards week number 3 next week in Oberhof. But now the race for the gold, silver, and bronze. And first up we have Germany's Jessica Degenhardt from Dresden, Cheyenne Rosenthal out of Winterberg. This is their 3rd season together as a doubles team. 4 quick paddles, a pretty smooth settle, and nicely done in the start curve. Jessica, 22 years old. She spends the summers in Bavaria, where she does her federal police training. Their start record time has put them into the green. They also had the start record in run number 1, so they bettered their mark. And 0.16 of a second is the margin. Really well done. A quick peek up by Jessica out of curve 9. Now the head is tucked back. Lower Labyrinth, staying off the wall. This part of the track has caused problems for sleds many other years. It hasn't been too problematic. And a great time, 46.835, not a track record. That was set by the Austrians in run number 1, but they have the start record. They have a big lead over Latvia, and we'll see if they put any pressure on the final sled, the hometown sled from Austria, which is just seconds away from starting. As you see, Degenhardt put that head up briefly, then tucks it right back on the straightaway, heading to corner number 10. There's a little bit of a shriek of delight by Jessica Degenhardt. Now Selena Egla and Laura Kipp. Laura was sick during the training week, missed a day of training. They came back yesterday at fastest time in the seeding training. Now the 21 and 22-year-olds from right here in the Tyrolean Alps will look to win their first race of the season. They took 3 victories last season, 2 of them in Lake Placid, but did not win on their home track in Innsbruck. 0.2 of a second. That's a big lead. Here we go, out of corner 9. Perfect. This looks like a victory. Couple of curves down here at the bottom. As I mentioned, the Labyrinth hasn't been a problem so far today. Don't want to jinx them, but it's looking like a victory for Austria. 1 race, 1 Austria win, another track record. Congratulations to Selena Egla, Laura Kipp, their first win of the young season. Terrific showing by them. They had a crash in the opening run of last week's race in Lillehammer. They managed to put it together and move themselves up to 6th place after run number 1. They did it well from start to finish. Didn't quite keep up with Germany at the start time, but kept it close enough. And remember, they brought a big lead into the second run, and they only extended that lead down at the bottom. Look out, Austria. If all sleds are flying this quickly down at the bottom of the track, men's singles, men's doubles, they could contend in all of these races. Selena's sister, Madeline Egla, along with the world champion Lisa Schulte, coming up in women's singles later today. And all the Germans can do is applaud. Standings, 11 sleds. Austria takes it over Germany and Latvia. Look at that, the top 5 different nations. We love to see that, a little bit of parity in the sport of luge. Diana and Lena fall back into 6th place. One other Latvian team also in the top 7. It's going to be very interesting, the World Cup standings coming up in just a little bit, because they're going to be tight. I'm thinking Jessica and Cheyenne will move into the lead. The Americans who won last week dropped back to 5th, and the Austrians who were 6th last week won the race. So things are going to be really tight this early. Getting ready down in the victory box for the presentation of the awards. There are those World Cup standings. As promised, they're tight with the Germans out in front. USA victors last week, and Egla and Kipp move all the way up to 3rd place ahead of the Latvians. A bit of a surprise to see Andy and Marion back at 6th place, but they're a steady team and only figure to move as the season moves along. Einers Vogelis, 2nd week in a row. Einers makes it to the World Cup. Good to see him here in Austria. Last week it was chocolate. This week it's teddy bears. How many Austrian victories will we see in the 5 races this weekend? Our viewers can answer that on YouTube chat if you want, as we take another look at our top 3. In 3rd place, the Latvians. They move up from 4th to 3rd. Congratulations to Anda and Zana. In 2nd place, holding their spot and with a start record, the Germans, Jessica Degenhardt, Cheyenne Rosenthal, while the Austrians right there, Selena Egla and Laura Kipp, win for the first time this season. Hoping to hear a little bit from our top competitors in a moment. And let's send it down, see if Patrick's got the interviews.
Guys, congratulations on the podium. How do you feel on this track today? It was a little bit of mistakes, but we're pretty happy for these two runs, and it's end with podium, and we're happy about that.
Thank you guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, we had a little bit of an audio glitch there, but as you see, Jessica and Cheyenne, they're getting ready. Second place interview.
Guys, congratulations on the podium. How do you feel on this track now? It's a little bit different this year. Did it affect your performance?
Yeah, it was a bit different, a lot faster. We had some troubles in training in 8 and 9, but we got a good second run. We had problems in 8, 9 in the first run, but we tried to gain some speed there in the second run, and then it just worked out. I don't know.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
And a great showing by Jessica and Cheyenne in second place. Not sure if we'll be able to get Melina and Lara, as you see, Austrian TV
home
live.
crowd
Now we've
win.
got 'em.
How does it feel for you?
It's amazing. All the people that are here to watch us, family and friends, it feels great, and I'm thankful for everyone who came here today.
The new track, it's a little bit longer this year. How do you feel on this track now?
Yeah, because we are not that good at the start, so if it's longer, then it's better for us, and it's really great to slide at the top and to feel a little bit of pressure, and yeah, we feel amazing right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, great job by all three of the podium winners, all 11 sleds in today's competition for that fact. 2 races down in women's doubles luge, the USA and Austria, winners of the opening 2 events in Lillehammer and in Eagles. And we remain in Eagles outside of Innsbruck. Competition coming up in just over 1/2 hour. So until then, for our entire FIL crew, I'm Tim Singer saying so long for now, and we'll see you next race on the FIL Luge World Cup.